Alright, so I may be a little bit late to this party, but we got a ton of stuff to talk about because first of all, hey, there's a new Iron Man skin and it's basically one of those things again where some people like it, some people don't, and the people that don't like it were kind of just hanging on left to the marketplace hoping for something that they would like, and then this is almost like the cherry on the cake where it's like, what on earth is actually going on? And then on top of that, I actually looked into what the next gen differences are, and well, it does seem like it is going to have a significant difference in terms of how we are playing and visually seeing things in the game, which is something that I kind of have, like, I guess you could say, experience from when it comes down to playing games like, for example, that Square Enix have published. So we got a ton of stuff to cover. As always, leave your thoughts on the new skin in the comment section below. What are your thoughts? Do you like it? Do you not? Is it really that bad as people, I guess, say it to be? Let me know your brutally honest opinion below. And as always, don't forget to check out the sponsor of today's video, which is Instant Gaming. So if you want to get a bunch of really cheap brand new games and even things like PlayStation Network cards and a ton more for an unbeatable price, then they are your people. So visit that link in the description below. So I want to start off this video, and I do also want to say that this is 1 out of 2 videos going live today. In the second video we got way more info as well to break down regarding a dev live stream with some really interesting things, so stay tuned for that one. But I want to start off, like I said, with the new skin. So I mean, look, I'm very opinionated, okay, and yes, I can understand where people are like, what on earth is going down with this Iron Man skin, right? And when you look back to the comic books and you look at the ultimate outfit basically for Iron Man, yes, there's two kind of, I guess, perspectives from it, right, when it comes down to the helmet and how it's actually done. So people were saying, hey, this is a complete, I guess, like con, right, of what the actual comic book version of this skin looks like. And this is interesting. Now, some of you guys that have been speaking to me for a while as well, we've been doing these one-to-one calls, as some of you guys are probably aware, but hey, I was speaking to one guy that was really cool, that goes ahead and makes comics, right? And I actually said, I don't actually read comics, in the sense of, like, if I was to go back and look at these comic book skins and so forth, like, I wouldn't really know too much because I've not actually been, I guess, like, throughout my childhood and so forth, I've not actually been dedicated to comics, right? So we kind of get torn in between this thing where it's like people just either A, visually like the way the skin looks like now, or they like it or dislike it because they know how it was in the comic books. Now, from somebody, and the reason why I brought up why I don't read a lot of comics, as some people may imagine, is because the way I feel about this may be completely different, because I'm looking at this like, I actually think it's half decent. It's not as bad as people are making it out to be. But then I kind of have to, like, flip it on the other side and say, okay, yes, when you do go back and look at the comic books, yes, there is a different, I guess, drawing, if you will, right, when it comes down to the helmet and so forth. So I'm really torn in between that, but as far as still the prices go for the skins, you guys know exactly what I'm about to say next, which is they are still ridiculously overpriced. It really is. Just slice the market in half, literally. I don't know how long it takes to create a skin, but considering that most are actually recolors, just go ahead and slice the price. Honestly, it'd be so much more better. Maybe when it comes down to new skins like we've got for this Iron Man one, then maybe go ahead and, I guess, like, charge actual expensive prices for, which is still not a good thing, but my point is, at least you can maybe have a reason. But my point still stands with that. Overall, I do like the skins, but I want to move on to the next topic that I wanted to cover with, which is the next gen version of this game. And it's kind of like a funny one as well, because this was announced like a week back, right, when we did find out when the next gen version of the game is going to be coming down and so forth, which is March 18th, by the way, for you guys who are wondering. Now, it gets mega interesting, and at the beginning of the video, like I said to you guys, I have experience when it comes down to, like, Square Enix games, and I'm going to give you an example. So let's take a look at the next gen feature comparison guide for the PlayStation 5. Now, it does have a ton of, I guess, like, significant differences, right, which are going to be relatively noticeable. Okay, so for example, faster loading times, that's instantly a big thing. Improved frame rate, that is a huge step, right, because that's something we all have problems with. But this kind of goes like hand in hand with improved frame rate and improved heroics and armor destruction, and I think like just, I guess, destruction in general. And the reason why I want to bring this up is I feel like there's multiple games, at least on the last gens, right, when we're talking PlayStation 4 and so forth, that had like a lot of destruction like this Avengers game, which ultimately makes the game. And the game I want to compare this to is a game called Just Cause 3 or Just Cause 4 or just the entire series for that matter. Now, don't get me wrong, these are two complete different games, okay? It's an open world game, if you're not familiar with it, and it's just nowhere near a superhero related video game. However, it was published by Square Enix, and as far as the destruction goes in that game, I mean, it's what it's all about, right? And the reason why I've brought it up as an example is not just because it's been published by Square Enix, but also because Marvel's Avengers is really chaotic. Like, it's all about destruction, right? Explosions left, right, and center. And most consoles, at least when we talk PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, couldn't really handle that. I mean, it really affected things like the frame rate and so forth. Now, when we even take into consideration that combat in this game is basically what's keeping it alive, right? That's the only reason why you look forward to new characters, because you're kind of like intrigued on how their combat is going to be. And you can't really deny the fact that yes, each character does actually feel different. So if it actually felt like a copy and paste, then I genuinely think nobody would really be playing the game, which I know some people, well, majority of people still aren't, but the point still stands, right? You get what I mean in terms of the future vision for the game. But going back to what I was saying about destruction, I mean, we need to really see some actual raw PlayStation 5 gameplay to have a better understanding. But again, just comparing it to that game like Just Cause 4 or Just Cause 3, and check it out by the way if you haven't, right? All about explosions, published by Square Enix, consoles could not handle it, destroyed frame rates, but that's what's made that game. Vice versa, that's what's made Marvel's Avengers. The destruction, the environment is what it's all about. So I think once we shift over to the next gen version of this game, we can truly see things that are going to be fun and enjoyable to play. Now vice versa with the Xbox version as well, as you'll see on screen, most things are give or take the same thing anyway. Of course you've got Xbox Series X and then you got Xbox Series S, but as far as like major differences go, I mean, it's pretty much there. Everything is on point, so it's very, very exciting. But like I said, we still really need to see some raw gameplay of this in action, because that personally for me will allow me to make up my mind on, hey, have they actually nailed this, or is there any, I guess, like, is there even a big enough difference, right, to go ahead and, you know, get a next gen console, for example, if you haven't already. Like, is there any rush? Just an example, right? Leave your thoughts on this in the comment section below. I'm still 50-50, but I mean, overall, it's definitely something to look forward to once we see it in action, though, for sure. So I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be like a few hours after this one. So in between then and now, have yourselves a ridiculously awesome time / day or evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, adios amigos.